Hello, and welcome to a Topic a Month podcast where we cover one topic a month split into weekly segments. I have currently two sad boxer dogs in the background that can't go outside because it's raining, so if you hear any whining or all-around crabbiness, that's definitely them. Well, now that we're through the formalities, I'd like to go ahead and recommend a local business, Molu Market, here in Duluth. They are two local artists that do woodworking, from wooden signs, paddles, to desks and furniture. Their source for wood is local as well, coming from Grain Patterns. Give them a look on Facebook at Molu Market, or you can find them in many local events around Duluth, and they also ship, which is awesome. This minicast is going to be on quite a heavy subject. So as I say on the podcast, which is in the industry of audio and can be linked to the Beatles because you use your ears to hear, buckle the fuck up. I want to talk about race today. Not because of the recent events in Charlottesville, Virginia alone, but I'm sure those will come up. But more so because I believe it is necessary to talk on the subject of race. Let's get some facts out of the way. Race is a description of a person's physical characteristics largely based upon skin color, first and foremost. It is a classification which we can know how to describe a person. Take, for instance, you're talking with a friend about a fellow coworker. That coworker's name is Mike. Mike is a very well-used name across many ethnicities and races. Your coworker asks which Mike, and the easiest way to differentiate at the time is to say the white one, or you could say the black one. Either way, it doesn't matter. One Mike is white, one Mike is black. Pretty fair assumption that's a good way to describe a person. And no, it's not a racist way to describe someone. I was taught way back in junior high, high school, maybe even college, but I doubt it, that we shouldn't see color. I know what they were getting at, that deep down we're all the same animal. We're mammals, descended from apes, and have the same relative view of the world, shortcomings, strengths, and weaknesses. The shouldn't see color concept is good. It is really, we're attempting to train ourselves to see beyond the color of our skin. It is noble and something that we really ought to strive a little more to do. However, at this point in time, in this America and perhaps this world, it doesn't seem to work that way. Obviously, it won't for quite some time at the most, and maybe never will. What I'm going to propose is that we still do see each other's skin color. We see the difference between one person and another. A woman from Sweden is going to look much different than a woman from Japan. Saying you don't see skin color is a little disingenuous to where the person is from, providing each person told you where they were from, or it was blatantly obvious. Assuming a person of Japanese descent is from Japan and not Cleveland, Ohio, makes it a bit of a difference. What we should be doing is seeing skin color, and that's it. That's as far as the description of the person goes. In no shape or form does the color of a person's skin that reflect on who they are as a person, and in no way does that person's skin reflect upon the race of the people. In grade school, we did a lesson on race. We were maybe 9 at the time. We read a book where a young girl met a transfer student for the first time. The transfer student was of Asian descent. The young white girl asked the transfer student if she could see her clearly. Well, but of course. And if memory doesn't serve me correct, the transfer student snarkily asked in return if she could close her eyes all the way. What this goes to mean is learning, asking, and curiosity of children is goddamn hilarious, but more so learning about another person, especially one that's outwardly different than you, is not racist until you've become more aware the question or statement you say obviously is. Effective humor, something I grasp at straws with here, depends on who's listening. Words have meaning, but much more than the black and white description of the page of a dictionary, the chapters of a book, or the mostly red-tinged hatred in history books. Words are connected with emotion as much as the description of a thing. I argue that it is also context which has to be taken into account. A person can say spick all day long in talking about the word itself, or followed by in span to denote cleanliness. But if leading the word is those, them, is when it becomes a gray area. Benevolent racism is actually a thing. Those spicks make a good burrito. The terminology, where it's used, and in what context prove that the sentence and usage of the word is obvious racism. But perception comes into play as well, and around who it is being used. Words have power. Words can have ownership. However, talking about a word does not mean a person agrees with the connotation behind it. We should openly be able to talk about the word, not about the people. Without discussion upon a word, its usage, and its history, we cannot grow. A racist word or phrase has roots deeply rooted in hate, jealousy, and description. It can be the forefront, headlining, or otherwise first in line to be a heated discussion via the weight it carries behind it. Do I feel comfortable saying kike? Yes, I feel comfortable saying it. In private, on a podcast for everyone to hear, and without it being a negative or hateful description of a Jewish person. Unlike many, a frightening amount, I have no ill will against Jews. It's a non-issue to me. Will I go around town saying, "Good day, kike. Pleased to meet you, kike"? No, of course not. First being, it's a hell of a slur. Second being, it's hurtful. Third being, well, it's just plain fucking bad taste. But we must not be afraid to discuss a word. Discussion of a word in its context and in an emotion-free environment. When we understand a word, we can better understand how to use it, but mostly how to take its power. I may not understand why it would be hurtful, mainly because there exist very few words which I have ever been called as a racist epithet, but mostly because, honestly, I'm white. I've not had to deal with anger, hatred, discrimination, and prejudice that someone of a darker skin than me has, of an ethnic background different than my own. I am not fully aware of the raw, unbridled power nigger can cause, and the hate which follows immediately behind it. I don't know because I haven't experienced it. But what I have experienced is seeing it, seeing the defeat, seeing the anger spill forth from the twisted mouth that is racism. The power we give words helps to bring others to their knees. The power we give words helps spread those ideas that rest behind it. The power we give words reflects on ourselves. Give off a reflection of yourself that spreads love. Talk honestly and openly. Show need to learn and discuss the power behind racism. When we understand a hateful idea, we can understand how to begin removing it from society. Thank you for listening to this minicast. You can reach us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at a topic a month, or email us at the same. Please review us on iTunes and continue to download at Podbean, iTunes, Stitcher, or TuneIn. You can visit us on Facebook at our page or our group and join or start a discussion. We've got a Patreon now, mostly for the merch, which at this point is a sticker. But donate a $5, get a sticker mailed. There are a limited amount, but with enough need, we'll make more and send them on their way. For our Patreon, any donations will be donated to the charity or organization on your behalf, with our name attached, of course. Thank you for listening, and have a good night.